Welcome everybody to another episode of The Wealthy Lawyer. I'm Jeff. I got my sidekick Kelly here today. We're going to talk about what I do and how to build some wealth the right way with intention. Today on the episode of The Wealthy Lawyer.
Oh, welcome back. Welcome back to The Wealthy Lawyer. We are here today, once again, to talk to each other and have some fun.
As always good to be here with you.
But you know what is so exciting about today's episode, Jeff?
Tell me, I'm at the edge of my seat.
I got you in the hot seat.
Oh,
so,
good.
In the last episode, I was in the girl position, and I had a lot of fun talking to you about part of my approach to helping people work with the why that they have.
Right.
You know, the whole reason that they're doing everything that they're doing, and how to orient themselves toward business development and growing their book with that why as the foundation.
And I think there's the great part is that there's so many similarities, Kelly, to how you get them to do that on their side, the why, and the way that I do it the same way. Because funny enough, the two are going to be intermingled, I think.
They sure are.
Right?
Hence, build your book, grow your wealth.
It's funny how that goes. But I think that, you know, if your why is superficial, which a lot of people are, it's I want to make money. Well, that to me isn't a why. Right? That's a byproduct of what you're going to do.
Oh, yeah.
I think you have to ask yourself, why do I want to achieve this or that?
Yeah.
And I think it's the same in my side of the equation as it is yours. It's the deeper you can delve into that, the more successful you're going to be.
Yeah.
And I think for my clients in particular, you know, they're working hard, they're making good money, but they have to ask themselves, why am I doing this? Why am I working 1,000 hours a week, you know, being away from my family and maybe not having a family because I'm working so hard? You have to be very diligent in knowing the why behind it. So they're very, very similar, the way that my conversation starts as yours does, right?
Yeah, they are. So if it's okay with you, we're going to spend some time today talking about how you help your clients turn their why into the foundation of their financial plan.
And I think, Kelly, you know, for a lot of people, it starts when they were a kid. It's funny because I had a conversation with a wealth coach the other day. Yes.
Yeah, cool.
Doesn't do any financial advising, but talks to people about why they feel the way they do about their money.
I was just going to say, I bet that person talks a lot about your money mindset, huh?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And
helping people understand what their mindset is. Because I think, you know, most people, I sure didn't for the longest time, understand what my money mindset was. You just think, I'm making money, I'm saving money, making money, saving money. But you don't understand what helps you or what hinders you unless you think back. It's almost like lying on the couch with a therapist and delving into your deepest, darkest secrets. But it's interesting because most people, and this was his opinion, don't give it enough thought as to why they are the way they are with money. Mm-hmm. And if you don't give thought as to why you are that way, why do I run up my credit card, pay it off, and come back down, only to run it back up again? It's a cycle that you can't break if you don't understand why you're doing it. So for me, it's helping people start to understand, not in that level, not the way that he does, because I'm not that good, but helping people at least begin to understand why they are the way they are with their money. Are they a saver? And we talked about this in one of the other episodes, I think.
Yeah.
Are they a saver or are they a spender? Me, I'm a saver. I can't even.
You couldn't even keep a straight face.
I couldn't even say it with a
when you
straight
said that.
face. I'm a spender.
Well, you know what I am. I'm a spender. Yeah, that's a problem.
So knowing that, we have to do things a little bit differently than those that naturally save.
Right.
It's contrary to the way that we are.
Right.
But understanding which of those two camps you fall into is a good start.
So can I just stop you there for 1 second? Because you're getting to a really cool point, which is why our clients do what they do and where our clients start. But you have a story. Like, wealth is obviously helping people create wealth, generate wealth, hold on to wealth, have generational wealth is a passion for you. This is your reason. Like, this is what you're here to do.
Yep.
Here, not in this podcast studio, here in this,
Yep.
In your profession. And so why does wealth matter so much to you? Why is it such a personal journey for you?
Well, I think it's one of those things where I've seen what it can do, and I can see what happens if you don't be diligent about it.
Right.
I look at my dad. My dad made millions of dollars through his lifetime. Millions of dollars. But for reasons that we won't get into today, it disappeared.
Slipped through his fingers.
Slipped through his fingers.
Yeah.
Bad decision making near the end of his life. Mental illness got in the way, and he died broke.
Yeah.
And it for me, it's a travesty. And I think that if given the right amount of thought and the checks and balances in place, nobody needs to go through that.
Right.
But I think in order to prevent that from happening, you need to be very clear that it can happen,
Yeah.
right? Because if you just head in the sand and don't think about it.
Oh, sure. Some people don't think it could happen to them. That only happens to other people. And so I'll just keep making all this money. And that could never happen if I'm making all this money.
Always.
Wrong.
Exactly.
Wrong.
And I think that if you become very intentional, so for me, seeing what that did to him and my mother, it became even stronger for me about being smart. Not that my dad wasn't smart with money. It was just that there were some things that he could have done different near the end. But I think for a lot of the people, it's a matter of being very focused and very intentional. Much is the same with building your book. It's the same thing with your money. Every dollar has to have a purpose. And if you don't know what that purpose is, that's where things start to go off the rails, right?
Oh, I love that. Every dollar has to have a purpose. Every dollar has to do something for you.
That's right. Whether it's feeding your lifestyle in terms of making sure that you've got a home and groceries in the fridge and all that, whether it's paying off debt, as so many of the young lawyers have to do.
Sure.
Whether it's saving for retirement, is it saving for... Listen, one of the things that I do with all my clients, and this is contrary to a lot of my peer group, I have buckets of money that I talk about with people, with clients. And one of them is a stuff account. And everybody goes, well, what's a stuff account? That's your guilt-free pot of money that is yours to do with whatever you want. And so what that enables you to do is be very intentional, very specific with all the rest of your money, saving, paying off debt, making sure you're making your loan and mortgage payments and everything else.
Yeah.
And have this guilt-free pot, because you work hard for your money. All our clients work hard for their money.
Yeah.
They can then buy whatever they want with it. That's their
my
guilt-free.
God. That's incredible, because then you start to feed that, and I don't know why that's such an uncommon way of thinking for people who do what you do, but that allows people who work so hard for their money to have some instant gratification while still tending to the future, tending to the important things, so that it's not all or nothing.
Yeah.
It's not one or the other.
And that's the thing that I think a lot of people need to understand, especially in the legal community. They get paid pretty well, but they work hard for that money. I think you need to work hard and play hard.
Yeah.
Right? So that stuff account, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's amazing how freeing it can be for a lot of people, because now that money becomes their vacation money, the buy a new car money, the buy a new suit, buy a new watch, whatever turns your
Fill
crank.
your wine cellar, whatever it is.
Whatever's important to you.
Human nature is such that most people are going to do those things for themselves anyway, because they feel they deserve it, or things get stressful, or they get a big bonus, and they're going to do it anyway, but maybe they'll do it with more money than would be in that stuff account, and then they shortchange the other parts of their lives, and then they constantly play catch up.
Or even worse, they go into debt to do it.
Ouch.
Right?
Okay.
So this way.
Okay, sorry. Finish your thought. I have so many questions about this. Okay, go ahead.
So this way, it's not instant gratification. You got to think a little bit until that pot is big enough that you can go out and do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Rather than, I'm just going to buy it, put it on the credit card, and hope that in 30 days I got the money to pay for it. Bad idea.
Financial planning with wishing is not smart.
Yeah, no.
Okay. So once your clients understand their why, and I'm going to sneak back into the previous episode, and I'm going to say that we're going to post our favorite exercise. I think, did I introduce you to the 5 whys?
You did.
There we go. Okay, so we're going to put a 5 whys worksheet in the bottom of this episode so that people can really get to the why, the real why, not the superficial why, right? We started up here, get to the deeper why. Once they have the why, they know that they want to build wealth and they know why they want to build wealth. What should they do first?
I think the number one thing that most people do incorrectly is they don't think about milestones or goals, specific goals that they want to achieve. Okay. And a goal can be not retirement, that's too far off.
It's too far away, yeah.
But it's, I want to become debt free by X. I want to have 6 months worth of living expenses as an emergency fund. That's a goal.
Yeah. They're very specific and clear and measurable.
So,
yeah.
In that, one of the exercises that I take clients through is I want them to identify, this is right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Once we've identified what they ultimately want to try and achieve, give me 3 to 4 goals with a number value to it, so dollar value, and a time period with which they want to achieve it.
Wow.
So then we're getting very clear, very organic, because now we're just saying, okay, you want to have X by Y. Okay, this is what we have to do to get there.
Yeah.
Having that roadmap, well, having the destination, and then having the roadmap to get there is easy, right? Once we have a clear idea of where we're trying to get to. Aimlessly wandering is going to get you nowhere. So first thing that we do is help them understand, okay, what are the goals that we have short term, long? It could be, I want to go on a vacation at the end of the year. It could be that simple. If that's the case.
Simple in its description, but not simple when you start factoring in all the discretionary spending you're doing along the way, and all of a sudden.
That's a good question too. Which leads me into another sort of side part that we do with that, which is identify, where does your money come from? But where does it go? And it's amazing to me, Kelly, when you go through that with, and it doesn't matter how old, how successful they are, everybody has 10 to 15% of their income that they can't figure out where it goes. It's just gone.
Wow.
Vanishes.
Wow.
And it doesn't matter who it is, and it doesn't matter how successful. Everybody has this leakage that you want to, or whatever you want to call it. So what I try to do is reverse engineer that, flip the script, and get it so that people are saving that 10 to 15% right away. So that now it's got a purpose again.
Yeah.
Right? It's got that intention that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So capturing that leakage is job one.
Yeah.
The second part is now taking the rest of the money and assigning a purpose to it. X dollars goes to this, X dollars goes to that, and being very intentional with how you use the money.
So the way you're describing it is amazing. It sounds very simple, just like the way I describe building a book of business, right? Yep. We do this so often, and we've been doing it for such a long time that we can make it sound easy. But we also know that when it comes to getting things into practice, not only does it take time to get used to this new way of, sort of orienting yourself or having a relationship to money in your case, it's harder to stick to it. And it's a lot harder for the people who are executing it than you and I sitting here in our, high horses saying, well, if you want to build a successful legal practice, you do this. So what gets in the way of people sticking with this plan? So now you've got a plan, they know their why, they know their destination, they've got their short-term goals that they want to reach, they've got dollar values and time frames attached to them. What prevents them from sticking to this plan?
First, they mistake simple and easy.
Oh.
Right? Two totally different words. So it's very simple because we can draw it out. Doesn't mean it's easy to accomplish. Right? So you have to have the intestinal fortitude, first of all, to say, okay, I'm going to be not about instant gratification now. I'm going to think about buying that for another week, another month,
Yeah.
and being very intentional. I think, again, it goes back to, and there's no easy way to say this, it all goes back to the why, first of all.
Yeah.
Why do I want to achieve this and that, and staying focused on that? Mm-hmm. I think the other problem that a lot of people have, so if you get around that and can stay laser focused on what you're trying to achieve, you're in good shape. But life happens.
Sure.
Right? Car breaks down, need money. Need a new roof, need money, right? Things pop up.
Or, I mean, you just have a slip up and there's something that you really, really want to buy and you decide to buy it. Okay, you can't go back, you can't get away from the new roof or the emergency situation or the fact that you just make an impulse buy and you fall off your plan. It happens. Shit happens.
Doesn't mean you're done. It's like me eating a piece of chocolate cake, right? It doesn't mean I'm totally off a diet, right? You can get back on course.
Okay.
But again, I think it comes back to, and that's why right now with new clients, I have monthly check-ins.
Great.
Because it's simple, but not easy.
Right.
So we identify, okay, what's working well? What do we maybe need to tweak? Maybe it's a little bit more money to here, a little less money to there, and we adjust it. Because I think it's like a diet, it's like taking medications. You got to get the right mix for each person. Because like you said, in the last episode about building your book, you can't do it the same way as the person next to you.
Right.
Right? The one thing I hear a lot of is, oh, so-and-so is doing this. So they want to do that as well with their money, whether it's investing in Bitcoin or investing in real estate. They just think that that's the way to do it. It's got to fit them.
Right.
Right? And the more it can fit them and who they really are and what they're trying to achieve, spender, saver, are they from an abundance mindset or a scarcity mindset, getting all that figured out early helps them navigate through those tough times where it's, the shit hits the fan.
Right.
Or they made a slip up.
Now, it's really smart that you have monthly check-ins with your clients as opposed to waiting quarterly or
if they want to do that.
Okay, it's a great offer, but it's also really important to success because if they're consistently falling short of their money goals, very similar to if they're consistently falling short of their business development goals, that's a really clear indicator that something needs to be tweaked, right? It isn't just, crack the whip and say, do better next month. It's because I know how you do this and I know how I do this, you actually unpack what's actually happening to have you making the same choices or the same mistakes or not following through on your commitment to yourself, because at the end of the day, they're not making commitments to us. We're there to guide them, but they're making commitments to themselves and their futures. So if you're consistently missing your commitments to yourself, let's figure out why. Either the thing that you've defined as where you want to go or the reason, your why, isn't compelling enough for you to stick to your plans. So we have to take another look at that.
So money mindset is a funny thing. And sometimes it requires a change of mindset, right? So, it's easy to get comfortable in doing what you do the way you've done it, right? I put it on the credit card. I run over a little bit this month. No big deal. But then it compounds, and then it compounds more. Changing the mindset and saying, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait next time before I make that purchase. I'm going to be diligent in saving. I can't go out this weekend. I'm going to do this. Or I can't do that vacation right now. I'm going to wait a couple months to save that. It's changing the mindset and saying, I'm no longer that person. Right? We can all become a different person.
Wow.
No?
Yeah, yes. Okay, so as you're telling this story, I am hearing you describe my best friend in the whole world, who is the person who will say, I can't do that right now because I can't afford it. I'm like, what are you talking about? You have a credit card? You have money? Because I'm the one on the other side saying, of course I'm going to do this. I'll figure it out later, right? But and there's a lot of space in between those two, but she and I happen to sit at those two extremes, right? So you're saying that I can actually adopt that mindset. I can become that person if I'm not today.
If you want it to be you, right? So again, it goes
Fascinating.
So it does go back to the bigger why, right?
Yeah.
Why do we do what we do? Why do we get up in the morning?
And do you want it badly enough that you're going to actually make the changes that you need to make, or the commitments to yourself that you need to make to get there?
Change isn't always going to be comfortable. And I think that's a big stumbling block for a lot of people.
Change is a little ouchy sometimes, huh?
But it feels good once you start accomplishing things, right?
So give me an example of some of the things that you've seen people accomplish. Like, it doesn't have to be massive, right? Because we do talk about increments. So big story, small story. But what actually happens when you see your clients stick to their commitments, stick to the roadmap, follow the plan, do the things?
It's a few things happen.
Okay.
One, the conversations change. So I've got a couple clients right now that fairly new clients that I've only had for maybe 6 or 7 months. We're doing the regular check-ins only because they wanted it. What's happened is the conversations have changed to, oh shit, this is really tough, to, oh my God, I've done this, this, and this. I've saved. One of my clients is now, in the course of the 6 or 7 months that it's been, has paid off his student debt. He didn't have a lot left, but he paid it off.
Okay.
And he's actually got money in the bank for the first time.
Okay.
He didn't think it was possible.
So that becomes addictive, right?
For
they
him,
see
it
the
is.
proof. Okay.
Yep, the proof's in the
So
pudding.
that's what happens. They see the proof.
So now he's rewarding himself by going on a trip with some buddies.
Nice.
Why is he able to do that? He saved the money,
Yeah.
and he's got the money in his stuff account.
Yeah.
So having the freedom that comes with that is huge, right? Knowing that you're not a slave to debt anymore, knowing that you have the ability to save, it does get kind of addictive, right?
Well, just as addictive as the spending was on the other side.
That's right.
Right? You can replace one addiction with the other. A healthy addiction
can
replace
that's right.
another. Okay.
Yep.
So I know that there are a lot more things that you could say about this, and we are going to continue talking about this in greater depth and in different ways in future episodes. And I know that everybody who's listening to this has been able to identify themselves in one or more of the scenarios that you shared.
Sure.
But I'm going to ask you to do a really, really hard thing to end the episode with me here.
All right.
This is very difficult to distill, but what is the one message you want lawyers to remember about growing wealth their way?
It doesn't need to be done at once. It will take time. Stay the course. A little bit is better than no bit. Not waiting until they're making X dollars to do it. Start today. The best time to plant a tree was 50 years ago. Second best time, today, right? It's the way it all works. So for the lawyers that are out there that are having difficulty, start little bits today.
Right.
Little changes make big, huge changes in the future.
Yeah.
Right? If you stay consistent.
Amazing. And it's cool to me that we both end the same way, which is, or we both talk about the same things, which is plant the seed, right? Start the thing. It's going to take time, right? You got to keep watering. You've got to keep nurturing your financial plan. You've got to keep putting money into those buckets that are going to serve the purposes that you've identified that they'll serve. But you have to get something in the bucket. You have to get the seed in the soil.
Just get started.
Yeah. Amazing.
Thanks, Cal.
Thanks, Jeff. This was a lot of fun. Thanks for sharing all that you did, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode.
Look forward to it.